Hello children, today we are going to study chapter 11 in History and Civics book for class 8. The name of the lesson is The Union Legislature. So please turn to page 127 there in your book. The Union Legislature. You know, India is divided into number of states. There is a government at the center and a government in each state. The constitution has divided the powers and functions of the government, both central and the state governments, into these three organs. What are those three organs? Legislature, executive, and judiciary. What does the legislature do? Legislature makes laws, executive executes the law, and judiciary interprets the law. Now the union legislature or the parliament, at the state level we have the state legislatures. The union legislature and the state legislatures both make laws. The legislative powers have been distributed between the union and the states. Subjects have been listed under the three legislative list. You can see three legislative list. The first one, the union list. What's this union list? Union list includes matters of national importance like defense, foreign affairs, post and telegraphs, banking, currency, telephones, and so on. So the union legislature has the exclusive power of legislation over these subjects. Second is state list. As the name symbolizes, this list includes matters of importance to the states as public order and police, water supplies and irrigation, public health, agriculture, and so on. The state legislatures have the exclusive power of legislation over these subjects. The third is concurrent list. This list includes matters that are important to both the union and the states, such as economic and social planning, education, welfare of labor, electricity, newspapers, and so on. Both the union and the state legislatures have the power of legislation over these subjects. In case of any dispute between the two, the center and the state, the union law will reign supreme. That means the center's rule will be considered, not the state, but only in case of dispute. Now let's move to the parliament. Constitution of India has provided for a democracy within which the parliamentary system of government has been adopted. In a parliamentary system, the supreme power lies with the body of the people's representative called the parliament. The parliament consists of the two houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha, which is also called the lower house, and the Rajya Sabha, which is called the upper house. Now let's understand each of them in detail. Let's move to the first point, Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha is the lower house of the parliament. It is also known as the House of the People because it consists of representatives of the people of our country. These representatives are elected directly by the people. Now let's see the composition. The Lok Sabha can have a maximum of 552 members. 530 members are elected from the states, 20 members are elected from the union territories, and the 2 are nominated from the Anglo-Indian community. The seats allotted to the states and the union territories are based on the respective population. Thus, union and state territories with larger populations have more seats than those with lesser population. Now let's move to the term. The members are elected for a term of 5 years. If the ruling party loses its majority, the president can dissolve the Lok Sabha before its term is over. In case of any emergency, the term of the Lok Sabha can be extended by 1 year. So the next point is procedure for election, how they are elected, the members to the Lok Sabha. The members are elected through the general elections. For this purpose, the entire country has been divided into constituencies, areas. One member is elected from each constituency. Elections are generally held every 5 years. Every adult citizen 18 years of age or above has the right to vote. People cast their votes through a secret ballot. That means only they know, others cannot see it. This means that no one knows from the voter has voted for. Now, who is eligible to become a candidate? So, the eligibility for candidates. A candidate who wishes to contest the elections must be a citizen of India and above 25 years of age. People who are in government service or those who are insolvent or mentally unsound are not eligible. A candidate cannot be a member of the Rajya Sabha or any other state legislature at the same time. After the election results are announced, the leader of the party with the majority of elected members is invited by the president to form the government. The other parties form the opposition. When one party does not get a clear majority, a group of parties form a coalition and elect a leader who is then asked to form the government. The Speaker. The members of the Lok Sabha elect the presiding officer or the Speaker from among themselves. All members have to take an oath, promise, of loyalty to the Indian Constitution in the presence of the Speaker. The Speaker supervises the proceedings of the Lok Sabha and maintains order and discipline in the House. So these all we studied for what? Lok Sabha. So the next point, the next topic is the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha or the Council of States is the upper house of the parliament. It is a permanent body and cannot be dissolved. Composition. There can be a maximum of 250 members. 238 members represent the states and the union territories like the Lok Sabha. The seats are allotted to the states and the union territories according to the respective population. The members of the state legislative assemblies elect the members of the Rajya Sabha. Apart from these, the president nominates 12 members. These are people who have distinguished themselves in the fields of art, literature, science, and social service. The vice president is the presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha. He or she is the ex officio chairperson also. So what is their term of the Rajya Sabha? Each member is elected for a term of 6 years. 1/3 of the members retire every second year and are replaced by new members. So it's called a permanent house, a perpetual house, because every second year 1/3 people retire, and for those places new people are appointed. Now, who is eligible? Eligibility for candidates. The member should be a citizen of India. They must be 30 years of age or above. People who are in government service or those who are insolvent or mentally unsound are not eligible. These are there under the heading of Rajya Sabha. Next thing what we are going to study is the functions of the parliament. The first one, making laws. The parliament is the highest law-making body in our country. It can introduce new laws as well as can change the old ones. Every law must have the sanction of the parliament. A law is first introduced in the form of a bill. A bill is the draft of a proposed law. A bill becomes an act only when the parliament, both the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, passes it, and the same is signed by the President of India. Bill can be broadly categorized as ordinary bill, money bill, and constitution amendment bills. So we are going to study these three bills also. First one, ordinary bill. Ordinary bills are draft proposals for ordinary laws made by the legislative body. They can be introduced in either house of the parliament. Anyone. Money bills. Money bills are those that contain provisions dealing only with matters related to tax, regulation of borrowing of money by the government, the payment into or withdrawal from the emergency fund, and so on. They can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha. The third one is Constitution Amendment Bills. A Constitution Amendment Bill is a bill to amend the Constitution. It can be introduced in either House of Parliament. So the next function is what? Financial control. The Parliament controls the finances of the government. The government presents the budget before the Parliament every year. It shows the income of the government and how it will be spent. The Parliament has the right to suggest changes. The Lok Sabha has the power to reject the budget completely. So this was financial control. The next function is control over the executive. The Parliament keeps a check on the ministers and their work. Members of Parliament have the right to question the ministers about the policies of the government. The ministers are responsible and answerable to the Parliament, more specifically to the Lok Sabha. If the ministers fail to give a satisfactory response to the questions, then the Lok Sabha may pass a vote of no confidence against the ministers. In such a case, the government has to resign. So these were the control over the executive. Now the next function is the judicial functions. The Parliament has a power to remove the President and the Vice President of India from their offices, as well as judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts if they violate the Constitution or misuse their authority. This is done through a process called impeachment. Now what is this impeachment? To remove from office, especially for misconduct. Now the next function is constituent functions. The Parliament can amend or repeal any provisions of the Constitution. It can make amendments to the Constitution by a simple majority. That is, a majority of more than 50% of members present and voting. For certain amendments, however, 2/3 majority is required. International treaties like trade agreements and declaration of war also need the approval of the Parliament. Now, how is Parliament an organ of information? The Parliament acts as an organ of information. Members of Parliament can ask for any information except those which may compromise the security of the country. Thus, the Parliament is not just a lawmaking body, it has numerous other responsibilities. Most importantly, it keeps a check on the government and ensures the welfare of the people. So this we have in this lesson. The same we have in case of the state government also, where we have the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. The legislature consists of the Vidhan Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad. The executive consists of the governor, chief minister, council of ministers and civil servants, and the judiciary consists of the high court and the lower courts. That's there in this lesson. I hope you have understood and will be able to write the question answers by your own.